Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the session. We have Suresh Kochattil with us. Welcome, Suresh. Welcome.
Namaskar.
Yeah, yeah. So it's always a pleasure to have Suresh with us. Suresh, there's a lot happening, and we'll start with the first piece of news. Now, I was just listening to Modi ji's, say that both Rahul and Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi have repeatedly abused him, and he has hit back at their tactics because weeks after the election commission, sort of uh, implemented the SIR and have also put the poll dates. The Mahagathbandhan released its chief ministerial face. Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, have finally kicked off his election campaign in the state. Now, addressing a rally, Rahul Gandhi launched a fierce attack on Modi. He said he just wants your vote. If 200 people from the crowd asked PM Modi to dance on stage in return for votes, the dance would begin. PM will start performing Bharatnatyam on stage, he said, taking a swipe at him and also a swipe at the Chat Puja that he is doing on the banks of Yamuna. He also mocked, saying that they staged a drama and showed the truth of India. The Yamuna has dirty water. If somebody drank it, they would either get sick or die. No one can go inside. The water is so dirty that if you enter it, you get sick or get an infection. But Modi staged a drama. He built a small pond there. They will show you anything for elections. A pipe is installed from behind. Clean water is poured into it. The problem arose that someone took a photo of the pipe. Now, strange thing, Sureshji, is that Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi can resort to any kind of tactics and say that they are doing it purely for the people, but they are doing it also for votes, isn't it? Why the double standards here, and why the mockery? Everybody knows the kind of intellect Narendra Modi has and the kind of intellect Rahul Gandhi has.
Meena, I think it's a repeat of the earlier elections also. If you've seen what happened in Maharashtra, and before that you've seen what happened in Rajasthan, Haryana, Chhattisgarh, that election also. We saw a repeat performance everywhere. There is no issues that they can take Modi ji on. Okay, there is no issue on corruption. There is no issue on any of his ministers being tainted. There is no issue on policy failures. So the only thing they can take on Modi is Adani, Ambani, and now that he kind of personally goes against Prime Minister Modi. Actually, if you ask me, all this actually helps Modi ji, because it's good that he does this all this circus, because then what happens is that Prime Minister Modi gets more publicity, he gets more sympathy, and of course we all know that in the end of the day it all matters in terms of perception. Everybody knows that Rahul Gandhi has nothing, no stuff in him. He is only keeps repeating the same thing, despite the Supreme Court kind of coming down heavily on anybody who tries to bring down the SIR process. Rahul Gandhi doesn't know what to do. Bihar election, he doesn't even say that what Tejasvi is saying in terms of giving 1 crore jobs or 3 crore jobs or 5 crore jobs is not feasible. But then he doesn't say all that. He only mocks Prime Minister Modi. He says Bihar never developed under for the last so many years. Youngsters never got a job. They all go to other states to work. Now, this is the same alliance whose partner, DMK, who claimed that Biharis come to Tamil Nadu to clean toilets. Remember that statement?
Yeah.
And this is what it is all about, Meenaji. End of the day, Stalin or Siddharamaya or DK Shiv Kumar or anybody for that matter, even Priyank Kharge, questioning Assamese, Biharis, UPI for their hardworking abilities. And I fault myself also into it, because I'm from Kerala and the same thing happens there. We mock everybody saying they're no good, and yet Kerala today is run by the Bengalis and Assamese and everybody else. And all the Keralites are not there in Kerala or don't want to work. This is a tragedy of it. We all know this, what is happening out there. Now, the question is very simple, Meena, in terms of the ability to work and the policies that Bihar has. Yes, it has been backward. Despite all the mineral resources that were there, now that has gone to Jharkhand. Bihar had plenty of opportunities, but it never developed for various reasons. We all know that. It was a center for vote grabbing, you know, kidnapping candidates, uh, what we know as Jungle Raj, as Modi ji calls it. And this has been happening right from the start of Bihar. If you look at the entire Bihar's history, it's been riddled with this. As much as UP was, till Yogi Adityanath ji came up and cleaned up the entire stable there. Now, in terms of what Bihar needs to develop, yes, it needs to create employment. The question is, why would somebody put his money there when he knows that he can get kidnapped in the morning and has to pay 5 crores in the evening or his dead body will arrive at home? Remember, the same thing is to happen with the Bahubalis in UP. Again, a few encounters and few guys got knocked off and they're all out of the business right now. And same thing is happening in, technically happening in Bihar. Bihar needs development, yes, but it needs industries. And industry will come only when there is a stability in policy and when there's a stability in the political atmosphere and when there's a stability in the law and order. Which is why, when Prime Minister Modi or Amit Shah ji says that there is no vacancy and Nitish continues, because that element of continuity is needed there. Rahul Gandhi has no choice. He's talking about a guy who's sitting next to him who makes crazy promises. And yet, he knows that this doesn't even work out. And I saw a tweet from Anand Ranganathan to that effect yesterday, saying that a 10th class failed guy will only come up with this logic. And somebody then commented below it saying, oh, that guy Tejasvi is not even 10th class fail, he's ninth class. So the very very obvious thing is, of course, education has nothing to do with, for example, the great K Kamraj never went to school technically, but he was one of the greatest politicians that India had ever seen, installing two prime ministers, starting something called a midday meal scheme, which is today the most norm across the country. Now, my point is very simple: is when you compare a Bihar with, say, Karnataka or a Telangana or even a Tamil Nadu, what is it that Bihar didn't have? It didn't have, as I said before, a big industry or an ecosystem. Look at Kanpur, for example, Meena. I was surprised to see some people from companies from Kanpur the other day, a couple of years ago, not even the other day, talking about defense ecosystem, which had 135 companies in that belt in Kanpur, which was actually known for its leather business before. But that is what we need to create in Bihar. And for that to happen, the first culture that needs to go out is, I will give you money, sit at home and don't work. And this is happening in, I don't want to say in your Karnataka, but it's happening in Karnataka too. It's happening in Maharashtra also. It's happening in Madhya Pradesh. The problem today is that you are rewarding people for not working. I can understand a woman getting 1,000 rupees, 1,500 or 2,500 in her account, because that actually propels her not to kind of ask her husband for money. Most of the rural women I'm talking of, and she can spend that money on what she needs, okay, without asking anybody, and that is what
So
it and
that
the
is
money.
what, yeah. So that's what Modi said today in a speech, that 10,000 rupees will be given to the women, to start off something. It gives them the encouragement. Yeah, back to you.
Actually, it goes back into the system. If you know that entire thing, it goes back to buy, say, what she needs for her personal needs, maybe even what she needs for her house. It can be vegetables, it can be lentils, it can be, rice. You get it free today with the public distribution scheme. But what happens is that effectively it goes back into the economy again. It is not that she's hoarding up that cash somewhere else. That is the point again. We need to empower women slowly. You bring them into a self-employment mode like a legit papad. I'm not saying everybody needs to make papads, but the Mudra loan scheme, if you look at it majoritarily in Telangana also, more than half the population, or at least 40% of the population, is availed of it. If you look at a family as a unit, and what do? They set up a kirana shop or they expand their existing shop in a village. A lady buys three more, four more sewing machines, gives employment to 4 to 5 people, and that is what is most important. We are talking of big industries on one side in Bihar, and we are talking of small units on the other side. The rural areas need to get a push so that they start earning on their own. As they say, the old adage goes in English, teach a man how to fish. I mean, fish for a lifetime. Give him a fish and he'll come back for more. So that culture sooner or later has to go out of the window. And that will take time, because over the years we have accumulated something called a deficit. a trust deficit, and that needs to get over with it. If you talk of, say, even advanced states, so-called advanced states like Karnataka, don't you have freebies there? We're seeing women in Telangana and Karnataka and even Delhi getting free bus rides. Great, no problem with it. I have no issues with it. But the problem is, why can't women who can pay for it, so that the buses don't get crowded? You don't give free bus to everybody in every bus. You limit it to a certain extent, and that is what is the most important thing, Meena.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Rahul Gandhi's attacks, the personal attacks on Prime Minister Modi, I don't even take it seriously, because he has no other issue. That shows that he has no other issue. I mean, which guy in his right sense of the mind will say that the Prime Minister will do a Bharatanatyam on stage? I mean, there are a lot of
So
guys
what
we
is
can
that?
all read.
So why is it? Why are they referring to Chhat Puja? Are they making a mockery of Sanatana Dharma and connecting it to Bharatnatyam and all those things? What is their mindset?
Yeah, I mean, the thing in Delhi about, demarcating a special area and claiming that, bindle water was poured into it so that Modi ji could do Chhat Pujas. And I think these people should know that at least Chhat Puja is done by the women, not by men mostly. And even if Modi ji had done it, in terms of security, obviously he would need a separate pond. Or wherever we've seen people doing it in swimming pools. I mean, that is what in most places it happens, even in Delhi. So what is wrong with it? I mean, Yamuna is not cleaned up in 11, I mean, some months. How many months is it? A few months since the Delhi government came into the BJP Delhi government came. And Aam Aadmi Party is claiming, you know what? They have not cleaned up Yamuna till date. What were you doing for 10 years? It was under you. The Jal board was under the Delhi government. What were they doing? The Congress ruled before that. Sheila Dikshit was three-term chief minister. What did she do? Of course, we can't question her because she's no longer there. The point is very simple, is that you've got to give a chance to somebody to clean up the entire thing. Remember what? We all mocked Yogi Adityanath when the Ganga cleaning machine came up. And we said he will not be able to do it. The Varanasi, look at that, it's dirty. Kurkat Kumbh Mela, it's going to have dirty water. And what happened in Kumbh Mela? People were pleasantly surprised. Because if you have a willpower to do it, you can do it. Give the Delhi government some time. Okay, IIT Delhi and Delhi government did a rain seeding and it flopped. Arey Baba, rain seeding was done even during NT Ramarau's time in Hyderabad. Okay, it was experimented here. It succeeded partly, and even I saw an IIT Delhi report yesterday, because they were the ones. IIT Kanpur did it, but IIT Delhi had a report which says that there has been a considerable fall in the particulate matter that was there, and nobody talks about stubble burning. Everybody blames Diwali patakas for it. Very obvious reason. You
Absolutely.
talked about Sanatana Dharma. That is the indirect way of taking off on them.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
Rahul Gandhi have the guts, or the Aam Aadmi Party guys have the guts to talk about the fact that stubble burning in Punjab, of course, along with Haryana and the parts of UP, is causing what is the problem in Delhi? The Supreme Court also came to know that very, very clearly. That was subtly they said you can go ahead and burst crackers now. I mean, you will have this same problem even a month from now when the winter sets in.
Yeah.
Meena, you know that very well. The winter is when this problem gets more acute. And at that time, do you want to still blame the Diwali crackers for it? You stop the thing at its source. Where is the pollution happening in the Yamuna? It happens because of the industries in Delhi, outer Delhi, which for years have been there. They need to be moved out. They need to be kind of closed down. Some of them need to have STPs. It takes time. And he going there to Bihar and criticizing Modi ji because he has no other issue. And he says Modi ji will dance to get a few votes. He doesn't need to. Rahul Gandhi needs to dance to get a few votes. That is actually happening.
Moving on to Bangladesh, Sureshji, see, we're talking about uh, the interim head, Mohammad Yunus. He's once again stirred diplomatic unease by again treading into the issue of India's northeast region. This time, he was seen presenting a Pakistani general a book carrying what seemed like a map depicting Assam and other northeastern states as part of Bangladesh. And over the past 10 months, prominent Pakistani generals have made several visits to Dhaka. General Mirza's visit is considered very important by the Bangladesh army, which is actively seeking new defense partners, including Turkey and Pakistan. General Mirza's meetings with his Bangladeshi counterparts are being kept highly confidential, but will certainly raise concerns within the Indian security establishment. Your thoughts on that, Suresh?
I think Bangladesh is deliberately doing this. He's deliberately doing it. Even you can make out. What difference does it make that if we show Bangladesh as a part of India tomorrow? It's not going to make a difference, isn't it? It is just a political posturing to see how much we react. And I think we should learn from Modi ji all this, how not to react. When Trump said so many things about him during the tariff thing and about Pakistan, about Operation Sindoor, about seven brand new planes and all that, Modi ji didn't react. It was left to Jaishankar and MEA to react to it. That is the maturity of it, because they want you to react, and you should not. And this is what is called a provocation. It is a deliberate provocation to see how much you will panic, or how much the Indian, what difference does it make? Is Assam not a part of India today? If we want, we can grab Chittagong tomorrow, and we could have done it even before that, before the independence of Bangladesh. But we didn't do it. It's a mistake at that point. But we leave it at that. The point is very simple. The Bangladeshi government is kind of tottering. It is there purely because of the support of the United States right now, in terms of bankrolling money, in terms of a lower tariff than India on textiles, so that their textiles move to the US. It's a different matter that the Indian textile industry has picked up again. It has found new avenues in Europe and other places. So the Bangladesh government is very clear that what they're doing is basically to provoke India. You have the Pakistani generals landing up there. They never used to do this before. And then you have the Pakistani trade establishment moving in there, trying to give stuff to. I mean, imagine one bankrupt nation trying to help another bankrupt nation. And that is a sad fact. They don't have atta to eat, and they're trying to tell Bangladesh, we'll help you.
Very well
We
said.
need to kind of ensure. We need to ensure that we cut off every economic avenue for Bangladesh that goes through India. We have shut off the pipelines. We have shut off the power. Slowly and surely, we should squeeze them. The jute transit has been stopped. We need to kind of ensure that no other mode is given, even not even through the Mundra port, should be given access, should be given to Bangladesh. We will help Nepal, but we will not help Bangladesh. That's for sure. Because Nepal is a landlocked state again, country, and we need to help them. But Bangladesh is a different case in point, because see, it's a failed nation like Pakistan. I mean, this has been there from 47, and then again in 71 when we saw Sheikh Mujibur Rahman coming into power. And then what we saw later was that his assassination that happened. And we saw various puppet regimes come and go. I agree with you, Sheikh Hasina was a tyrant, but Bangladesh needs tyrants sometimes. Remember when emergency happened, a lot of people said, "Oh, it is good that emergency happened in India because the trains were running on time. People are coming to work. Government employees were doing the job. This is what it is." So that time, Bangladesh needed somebody like her. Maybe she overstretched her luck. That's a debatable point. I mean, it happens in every other country. Don't tell me that it didn't happen in Myanmar. It didn't happen in Nepal. It didn't happen in Sri Lanka. By the way, from Jayawardene to the present establishment, everybody played their game. But we were a kind of a nation that stayed on course with our democracy, with all its flaws. But main thing we need to remember in Bangladesh is that we should just ignore them, because when you and me talk about it, that is when they get their fuel.
Yeah,
That is when
absolutely.
they get their their kind of importance in the international community. It is not that me or you talking will be, President Trump will be watching us, nothing like that. But the point is simple, that more of us tweet, more of us talk, Bangladesh gets its publicity.
Yeah.
Just ignore them.
Indirectly, yeah, indirectly, it's very reminiscent of the way Bollywood reacts also. See, to at many stages they try to insult Sanatana Dharma, thinking that Hindus will get offended and they will please their own masters who are across the border. So it is very similar to what you just said now.
Amir Khan making Lord Shiva dance in the toilet
Yeah,
in Three
yeah,
Idiots. Did we react to it?
absolutely.
Did we Hindus react to it? No. A few guys here and there tweeted about it. That's it. We didn't do a Sartan pe Juda. We didn't do that. The problem is we are a community, we are a nation, or we are a civilization which is more than 5,000 years old, which has withstood the ravages of time from Ghazni to the British. And we have withstood everything from the Mughals in between. And we have still survived. We didn't become another Syria. We didn't become a Palestine. We didn't become a Lebanon, which is a Christian
Yeah,
country. We were not like Iraq, which was not an Islamic country, became one. We were not like Iran, which was not again a technical Iranian Islamic country, say 200 years ago, but it became one. The onslaught of Islam has actually completely taken over the entire Middle East, so called Middle East, and with it, a few parts of India. If you see Kerala, if you see UP, if you see Bihar, these are areas where the Islamists ruled during the Mughal rule. They couldn't enter Assam, where the Ahom kings ensured that for 800 years the Mughals never set foot, not just Mughals, nobody ever set foot into their territories. We need to appreciate that. Because our history lessons were written by Irfan Habib and Romila Thapar. That's the problem.
Yeah. So moving on to Russia, Srishi, Russia has successfully tested its nuclear-powered Burevestnik, I think I pronounced it right, Burevestnik cruise
Yes.
missile, a nuclear-capable weapon that Putin says it can evade any defense system. Now, Putin has, he is the kind of person who doesn't actually listen to anybody. He has his own, stand. And now Putin said the country would now move towards deploying the missile. Russia has successfully tested its nuclear powered Burevestnik, a cruise missile, a nuclear capable weapon that can evade any defense system. Now, what do you say about this, Suresh? See, one thing is that we all admire Putin because he is not someone like Trump who just speaks, off his hat. He is very clear in what he does, and he sticks to his stand. He has been close with India, and he's continued to be close with India. In fact, despite all the other attacks that both of them have had.
Yeah, I think what Putin is doing is to prove that the Russian military mission still has its might. Remember, the entire knockoff from the Ukraine Russia war was that the Russian industry is dead, especially the defense industry. That is when Russia was talking of Su 57 or 56 for India and Su series of aircraft, they were being mocked, saying that where do you have the capacity to build all this? And if you ask me as a neutral observer, I would say yes, that's a question even I would ask. But the point is very simple, Meenaji, is that the Russian military mission is still running. God knows where they're getting that money from, but they're not destroyed yet. And I think this test was a proof of that. It's a proof of concept, as we call it. It is not producing that in, say, a few dozens or maybe 50 numbers of them or not. No, they tested something to give a warning. As they say in Hindi, समझदार को इशारा ही काफी है. That is what it was, to tell the world, tell the US, tell NATO that look, we still have the capability to do this. Everybody knows nobody will ever use a nuclear weapon. Never. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we saw the effects of, we saw Chernobyl for that matter. And this is what we need to learn from them, that it doesn't work that way. To push Russia into a corner, and sooner or later, Russia will also push back. Look at the deal they signed with HAL other day to make passenger aircraft, small ones, for our Udan scheme. Big indication for that. Look, Russia can still make passenger aircraft. And why did India sign it? Because India wanted to prove a point to Boeing, or even to matter for Airbus, because tomorrow these guys can just shut off your tap. They can just say, we won't give you any more spare parts for your, just as SAP did that with Naira, when they said, we will not let your software work anymore. India should ban SAP, if you ask me. If SAP is dancing to the tunes of the German parent, then India should ban those companies. Which is why when Zoho brings out their products, Indians are accepting it wholeheartedly, because not because of anything else, not because they love Sridhar Bamboo or they love an Indian product. They love it because they feel that finally Atmanirbharta has got a meaning for it. And I think that is the Soviet way of saying our Atmanirbharta is still alive and kicking. And the Soviets have proved a point. They still produce missiles for them. Of course, they're buying a lot of stuff from the Turkish, they're buying from the Iranians, all that stuff is up, even from China for that matter. But they're also producing their own stuff. And this particular test, which we saw, is a sign up point to tell Trump that, look, or even to Zelensky for that matter, that we have the capability. Don't push us to the edge, or we'll be forced to use something which we'll regret later. And I think that is what Putin is proving. I mean, imagine standing up even after 3 years with the entire NATO and even the US indirectly against you. Zelensky is just a joker. He is a stand up comedian, as he is. He wouldn't understand a difference from a missile to a cruise missile to a a tomahawk. I mean, that is how the difference is. But today he has been bankrolled. He's got billions with him. All that stuff is happening at the end of it. And that is what is the main thing, Meena, is that Russia is standing up to all the nonsense. I'm not saying Russia didn't do anything right or wrong or whatever it is. Ukraine war was a mess. But Russia had a point to prove. It wouldn't let NATO sit on its borders. No way. And Ukraine made this crazy demand of getting into NATO, which is again a disaster. And Biden backed it, which is another disaster. And then all the NATO jumped in. Now look at each one of them. Nobody wants to get into that. Nobody wants to fire a missile at Russia because they're scared they'll get fired back at.
Yeah.
And this is what Poland claimed. Poland learned its lesson. So everybody's being careful now. Germany doesn't want to get in. Italy doesn't want to get in. And this particular test was Putin's way of putting a message across, a very, very subtle message.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know you're in a rush, Suresh. So just one last piece of news. Donald Trump and Xi Jinping meeting, has gone off very well. And now Trump cuts China tariffs to 47% after meeting Xi Jinping. So, also I read somewhere just now that even fentanyl, they have cut down on fentanyl. See, as far as I know, Suresh, see, one of the biggest problems for America has been the fentanyl drug, because it's something that has made a lot of the Americans almost sick and on the streets. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about that? I'm sure you know better.
See, the problem is America has been battling this drug overdose problem for quite some time. I mean, you can blame the Venezuelans, you blame the Colombians. See, wherever there is a consumer, there is a supplier. Simple as that. If you look at Iran as a case in point, or Singapore for that matter, if you get caught, you get executed. Simple as that. Because the entire drug chain works from one end to another end, Meena. It's very, very clear that way of working, the drug chain, it'll happen because there is a buyer for every supplier. And that is the most important thing. And we need to understand this. And I'm glad that he brought this point across, because India is also facing the same problem. The drug overdose problem in India is underplayed, where it is overplayed in the US. And that for sure, as we speak, the US is hitting back at the Colombians and the Venezuelans. And that is
Thank
what
you
is
so much,
happening.
Suresh. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Meeraji.
I
I'm
know you're
sorry
in a
I
rush.
was
Not at
rushing
all.
to
Not at all.
interview a union minister, so I need to kind of get off this
Yeah.
show. I'm sure that
Yeah.
our viewers will understand what's happening. And I'm sure on a longer point, we need to have a debate on each of these issues separately, so that there is an in-depth analysis of what is happening. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good night. Jai
Jai
Hind
Hind.
and Jai Shri
Jai
Ram.
Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram.